it's news about Dak's future in Dallas that's grabbing the headlines. When asked if Dak wanted to stay in Dallas long-term, one former anonymous Cowboys coach said, quote, "At this point, no, I don't think so." So, Shannon, do you agree that Dak doesn't want to be in Dallas long-term?
Skip, I don't think that's the case at all. I really don't think it's a situation where Dak does not want to be in Dallas. But I think he wants the Cowboys to compensate him fairly. He's disappointed, Skip, because he's watched for the 4 years he's been there since 2016. He's watched guy after guy after guy get paid. And not one time did Jared or Stephen Jones tell them, "I need you to take a haircut so we can pay the next guy." And when it came that time for Dak to get his money, the first thing out of their mouths before they even started negotiating was Dak need to work with the team. Dak needs to realize that he plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He plays quarterback in Dallas and the other opportunities off the field. They never mentioned any of that with any other player before Dak. And so Dak is like, hold on, wait a minute. Why now is it all of a sudden of grave importance that I give you a haircut when you never ask any of those other guys to give you a discount? So because, oh, you didn't say Jalen, Dak, Zeke, I need you guys to give me a haircut because you know we got our quarterback and you know it's going to cost us a lot of money to get the quarterback side. They didn't do that. Skip, Dak might have been willing to work with them had they gone to Dak like the Eagles went to Wentz, like the Rams went to Jared Goff, like my homeboy team came to him. 2 years left on the deal. Okay, let's get something done. You let the guy play the deal completely out. Run the risk of having, knock on wood, Skip, nothing happened. But having an Alex Smith, glad to see he got cleared. He can come back and play. But God forbid he has that type of injury, Skip. So you want him to give you a discount? I think that's what's, the price is, Skip, they could have got Dak Prescott. They wanted Dak Prescott for somewhere between 34 and 35. You know that price is never going to happen again, don't you? You know that. Because when did you say Jared Jones bought the Cowboys? 1989? Jared Jones bought the Cowboys. Let's say he played, and the stories fluctuate, between 120 and 140 million. Do you believe Jared Jones could have bought that team in 1990 or 1991 for 120 to 140 million dollars? The lowest he was ever going to buy that team is when he bought them. The lowest he was ever going to get Dak Prescott at 34, 35 million was last year. And when that didn't happen, the price is going to continue to go up. So if you think you're going to get, you thought you was going to get him at 34 million, it's only going to go up, Skip. And what hurts them is that, let's just say, you know, we could talk about this a little later, the cap. Now, the cap gets to stay at 198 this year. According to how the revenue goes, it can't go below 175. If Dak's on the books next year for 37 million, you talking about you didn't want him to be more than 14%. That's 21% of your cap. So now what are you doing? And that's what you always try to do, Skip. You try to identify your quarterback, got him on a young, easy contract, build around him, let's go for it. We saw what Seattle did. You see what, now Mahomes gave him a discount so they can go get keep Frank Clark and sign a few other guys. Keep a lot of their core guys, Skip.
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, Chris Jones. Dak is not going to do that, Skip. Because he's like, Jerry, Steven, y'all, you don't believe in me. You say all these things publicly, but privately, the conversations that I've had with my agent leads us to believe that you're not sure of what I'm capable of doing. And since you feel that way, and since I'm having to go out and prove myself again, I'm going to get every last nickel that you can possibly pay me.
So I hear everything you just said. I hear about this report from Dallas. None of this is any surprise to me, unfortunately. I told you the last day we were on this show, the day after the deadline came and the deadline went without a deal, I told you it was the beginning of the end of Dak in Dallas. And I still believe that, unfortunately, with all my heart and soul.
Oh, his side or their sides, or both?
A little of both, but especially on Dak's side. And we both agreed, once his brother immediately tweeted, I never was much of a Cowboy fan, and I'm going to find it really hard to root for the Dallas Cowboys next year.
Even though my brother's on the team.
Even though he's the face of the franchise. Once I read that, you know and I know where that came from. It came from the emotions of his younger brother, Dak. That was Tad about Dak. And he knew there was some bad blood that had just spilled all over the floor.
Yep.
And we read the Yahoo report that Jerry Jones never quite got over getting the rug jerked out from underneath him after the first game by the fairly new, that's Todd France, the fairly new agent of Dak Prescott. And again, just to summarize it, Dak bet on himself going into the season. Jerry said after game one, big performance by Dak against, albeit the Giants, Jerry Jones said, our deal is imminent. It will be done in days. All we need to do is cross some T's and dot some I's because we have agreed on the key point. The money has been agreed upon. We have a sort of a verbal handshake deal on the money. And all of a sudden, Jerry was surprised. No, we don't. Our price just went up. And then after the game at Washington, it went up a little bit more. And after the game against Miami at home, it went up a whole lot more. And Jerry said, okay, I'm out. You have done me dirty. I don't play this way. When it comes to negotiating, a man's word is his bond. And you broke your bond. And here we go. So you bet on yourself for 3 games. We'll keep betting on yourself. And over the last 13 games, Dak wasn't great. Even as big a fan as I am, and I still believe in him as a football player, I just got to tell you, I had time. We were off for a week. This sank in for me. It settled in the back of my brain. I'm just disappointed in my man, Dak Prescott. I don't like the way he played this. I still believe Jerry made him a very fair offer. I'm told it was $36 million, but 34, 35, 36. $36 million with 80 of it guaranteed at signing. That's a lot.
That is.
And I thought it was a fair deal. I won't go great. I won't go.
It was respectable. People said disrespect, but it was a very respectable offer.
It was a respectable offer to a young man who's been very good, but he hasn't been Patrick Mahomes. I rank him 9th or 10th, so I got him at the bottom of the top 10, which is still very, very good. I think you would agree somewhere 10 to 15, somewhere in there.
Absolutely.
Okay, but he's not that guy who just got that big deal. But the harder we look at the Mahomes deal, it looks very Brady-esque. It's actually team-friendly. Now, the annuals are up. They're $45 million. And I believe Dak was shooting for somewhere close to that, 42, 43 million a year. And Jerry just said, no, that's too rich for even my blood. And by the way, forced now to accept the tag, I want to remind everybody, Dak Prescott now makes, starting tomorrow, I guess, as they go to camp, he now makes $10.5 million more than any other overpaid Cowboy. Anybody, DeMarcus Lawrence, Amari Cooper, name them, $10.5 million more go to the quarterback because he makes $31.4 million under the tag. That's about 16% of the total cap. That's pretty high. But to your point, if you tag him again and it goes to 38-ish million, now it's up to 22% of the cap. And that's just too much. And so Jerry's saying, I don't know what to do with this because I got backed into a corner. There is bad blood. There's injured pride going on here. And Jerry's saying, well, when I tag him, the 31.4 for this year, I can't do any funny business with it. It just is what it is.
Because you can't prorate it. It's 1 year. It's all 31.4, 2020.
You can't sort of leak part of it through a loophole over here, a loophole. It's just boom, you're done.
It's all there.
And you're stuck with it. And I don't think Jerry loves doing business this way, but he got backed into a corner, and I think his pride got rubbed raw. And it's a sad situation for a quarterback I still love. It feels like a fractured fairy tale to me.
Skip, most of the people that I know that's in front office, be it Ozzie Newsome, John Elway, Mike Shannon, a lot of the great, say by the 3rd year, you should know what you have in a guy. If you don't know what you got in the 3rd year, move on. If you didn't know what you got in Dak Prescott by the 3rd year.
But given the offer that was on the table, I think Jerry said, we have a very good quarterback. We don't have Patrick Mahomes. We don't have Tom Brady. We don't have Drew Brees, but we got one we can win with.
I think the thing is, when you look at Mahomes' deal, Skip, although it's not a lot of money in the first 3 years of the deal, over the life of the contract, $45 million, it's going to be a while before someone makes $45 annually per season. And I think he says, okay, I'm willing to work with you over the first couple of years to make sure we can keep this thing together. Because like you said, Skip, you know, Travis Kelce's going to want a new deal. There's going to be a lot of guys that's wanting new deals. And I don't want, because theoretically, Skip, Kansas City, if Pat Mahomes said, look, guys, this is what I want. I want $120 million. When I sign my name, I want $120 million. And I want to make $45 million over the next 8, 9, 10 years. I mean, what are they going to say?
But they got flexibility around all those years. You can play with it. You can do things. You can renegotiate it.
Even if you do that, Skip, you said, okay, if we give him $120 million, we can prorate that over 12 years. That's still only $10 million. So even if we pay him $15 million base, we still well with under the cap.
We're good.
We good.
So what did Tom Brady do for all those 20 years? He took under market value to allow Belichick to maximize his supporting cast and maximize the defense. Right. And I thought Dak, I've called him Brady-esque, and I thought he would operate under the same sort of mindset. And somehow it went completely south. And then the new plot twist that I read in this article we're referring to, that Dak is still upset that Jerry fired Jason Garrett. I did not know. I knew he liked Jason Garrett, but now you're actually holding a grudge against Jerry for that?
Because I believe in the beginning, Jerry wanted to go back to Tony Romo. It was Jason Garrett that was fighting for Dak Prescott after with the success